140 searchers are combing the woods of Pictou County on the ground with drones and helicopters in the air. Still, after 5 days, there is no sign of Lilly and Jack Sullivan. The search area for the siblings has been expanded. CTV's Hafsa Arif is there again tonight.
As RCMP combed through woods and fields searching for 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, their stepfather Daniel Martel spends every evening conducting his own search.
As soon as I seen they were missing, I jumped right in the vehicle and I did every dirt road and searched every culvert.
The children are thought to have wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station on Friday morning. Martel believes they were only gone for about 20 minutes before he and their mother noticed they were missing.
The very first day I wasn't around very much because I was just searching. I was running through the woods, screaming their name till my throat hurt.
Martel says the only concrete clue so far is a boot print found near the backyard of the property. RCMP haven't shared any additional evidence.
The officers and searchers on site are following up on anything that comes up that provides.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up, I heard them playing in the next room beside us, and I was drifting in and out of sleep, and they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them, and they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens, and they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time, and the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store, everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate
Outside this Nova Scotia home, a reminder of the heartbreaking absence. 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan missing 6 days now. Their stepfather getting an update from RCMP officers. It's news he says he knew was coming, but didn't want to hear. Police are scaling back the search and rescue of the siblings, with hope dwindling.
Based on the experts and the review of the facts, the inclement weather, the time frames, and their age, the likelihood that they're alive right now is very low.
Breaks my heart.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me move this over for just a minute here. Okay, it's been a while since I've covered this case, but before we get into that, I do have another announcement I want to make as well. But as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. There are a few updates with this case. It's been a while since I've covered it. I kind of dropped out because, the last time I was covering it, we had that Durwood Grady guy going out, and it was just family members pointing fingers at each other, and it just kind of felt like it wasn't really going anywhere. As it was really just people pointing fingers at each other and hearsay, and really nothing coming out of RCMP. So, I've been kind of waiting for some kind of substance. So there's been some interesting updates that we will go over in today's video. Also, the Globe and Mail, they just released, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, they released kind of like a podcast, which is kind of interesting, which has got some interviews that I have never heard of. Maybe you guys have, but it seems like they're kind of exclusive interviews and some kind of insight from what they've experienced because they were out there. So we'll go over that and the blanket and what you guys think. Before we do, sorry, there's somebody driving their motor really loud outside. Okay, it stopped. I do want to mention somebody has reached out. In this case with Daniel Robinson. I'm sure if you follow true crime and the missing, you've heard of this guy, Daniel Robinson. He went missing. I can't believe it's been over 4 years. I mean, it just feels like almost yesterday. This is before I had my channel. But in June of 2021, geologist Daniel Robinson was leaving his work site and then was found, I think, in July. I forget the exact date. Again, there's so much details to that specific case, where they found his Jeep flipped over and his clothing spread out around the vehicle. And anyway, it was very weird. They still have not found him. Many searches have gone on, but nothing found as far as Daniel Robinson. But I've had someone reach out to me that appears to be kind of close to David Robinson, who is the father of Daniel, who has obviously been advocating and trying to get answers to find his son. And he's been emailing me some inside details. I want to be careful about exactly what I say, because hopefully we'll meet with this person tomorrow or the following day and get more details. But in a nutshell, it sounds like with this case, Daniel Robinson, it sounds like they're trying to get traction again as they have maybe new theories. Obviously, I'll know more in the following days. But yeah, it'll probably be a case that we're going to definitely start covering along with Sebastian and stuff. But it will be one that we're going to start to, cover, as we may get some maybe inside details or new details and theories about what possibly could have happened to him. So that'll be interesting. And again, that's what this channel is about, is to help, the missing and help spread awareness. And again, I can't believe it's been over 4 years. It really does feel like just, a year or two ago that he went missing. But, and he kind of, his case kind of got overshadowed by Gabby Petito, which obviously is not their fault. It's just how, media works. But, he went missing, and then, you had the Gabby Petito case kind of spring up, and that kind of overshadowed everything. But we will, here we have Carolyn in the chat, who is going to hopefully help me behind the scenes, who's I've had the pleasure to work with on a case in Texas. So, it'll be kind of interesting to see what we get. I've had some stuff sent to me. I may do kind of like a members, I'll probably do I don't know if I'll do a members live, but I'll kind of share a little bit of information of what they're kind of looking at. I'm sure I have the green light to at least do that. So we'll definitely do that. But anyway, sorry to get sidetracked, but I thought for those guys that are familiar with Daniel Robinson, that is something that we're going to get back into, covering that case, because there could be new leads that could spring from what's being sent out. So it'll be really interesting. Okay, so back to Lilly and Jack Sullivan. Again, it's been a while since I've covered this case. I'll go over the brief timeline, and then we'll get into some of the latest interviews, and then kind of like the main theories, and then go over kind of what we think. And then, like I said, the Globe and Mail did this podcast. Let me know in chat if you guys have heard it. Like I said, it was either posted earlier today or late last night, I believe. But it's very interesting, as it does have some interviews, and they kind of share what they experienced when they went to go interview Daniel and Malaya. So let me just get caught up in chat. Let me get the timeline pulled up. Again, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with it, but we'll just kind of recap it for anybody that's not familiar. But I see a lot of people in here. If you can, please hit that like button. And let me just quickly shout out these wonderful donations. And Jazz, thank you so much for always giving a Mob Crew membership. That is so sweet. And Maudie and that. God bless you. And of course to all my moderators here today. God bless you guys. Marissa says, bring Jack and Lily home. Yeah, it sounds like with this update, obviously, if you've seen the thumbnail, they're bringing out cadaver dogs. It doesn't sound like they're going to probably release the date. We'll probably just hear that the search had been done. Just so I'm assuming they don't want to announce the date and then have people go out there. And, obviously you don't want people out there when you have scent dogs trying to pick up, you don't want anything to inhibit their search. So, but thank you, Marissa, for the $4.99. Bo, thank you so much for the membership. God bless you. I appreciate the support. Marissa, again, thank you so much for the membership. God bless you. And Bo, renewed. Thank you, Chris, for all you do. Thank you guys so much. Again, I wouldn't be here with you, and I wouldn't be able to help out, these cases and have the opportunity to maybe help with, Daniel Robinson's case and help get that started up again. So that'd be really cool. Okay, so let's just go over the timeline a little bit. I won't let you like. Maybe I already hit the like button as you came in, but no worries, Carolyn. And I appreciate. I will email you right after the live because I just got back with that person. He said because he sent me more information regarding the Daniel Robinson. So I'll email you right after. But it'll be really interesting to see what we can, what uncovers from that case, because. That's 4 years that a father has no answers. But back to Lily and Jack. So May 2nd of this year.
Off from the home. Police do not issue...
let's see. May
2nd. Rural school about an April 29th, 2025. The last day Lily and Jack Sullivan...
So just for anybody that's not familiar, just a quick little recap here. This is just a couple of days before they went missing because this is obviously possibly a red flag. The kids didn't show up to school basically that week except for that Monday. So here is that. We'll start from there. So that's at the end of April.
April 29th, 2025. The last day Lily and Jack Sullivan attend Salt Springs Elementary, a small rural school about an 18-kilometer bus ride from their home. There was no school the next day, and the children were kept at home May 1st and 2 owing to illness, according to Mr. Martell.
So yeah, that last scene on April 29th. Now, when I stopped kind of covering this, I heard, let me know you guys, correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but there was kind of theories going around that, one of the theories that, they claimed that they were just sick or Lily had the flu or had a cough. But then there's also been theories that they had like a black eye, or one of them had a black eye, and that was a theory as why they didn't show up to school. But again, that's just theory. Let me know in chat if it was just one or both. But I do remember kind of when I kind of moved back to Sebastian Rogers that was kind of being tossed around as well as, an alternative reason as to why they didn't let them go to school. Now, of course, I think it was Wednesday that they didn't have school, so technically it was Tuesday, April 29th, that they didn't show up. And then Wednesday, there was just no school that day. And then, of course, Thursday, they didn't show up. And then Friday is when they went missing. Obviously, they didn't show up.
May 2nd, 2025. At approximately 10 a.m., Ms. Brooks Murray calls 911 to report Lily and Jack missing. RCMP issue a vulnerable missing persons alert in Pictou County and ask for the public's help in locating the children who they say are believed to have wandered off from the home. Police do not issue an Amber Alert, saying an abduction appears unlikely and the case does not meet the necessary criteria.
She's so cute. I mean, they both are, of course.
Ms. Brooks Murray and Mr. Martell attend a briefing at the Search and Rescue Headquarters on nearby Lansdowne Station Road. Mr. Martell said Ms. Brooks Murray leaves midway through the update to sit in the back of an ambulance. She departs with her mother, and Mr. Martell said he hasn't seen her since.
That's right. Mariska, hopefully I pronounced that right. Yeah, Lily had a black eye. Martell said she hit herself with a Tonka truck toy as she pushed down on it. It occurred at the great-grandma's house. That's right. I do remember seeing that. Thank you. Hey, Jennifer, good to see you. Yeah, because I wasn't sure if it was both of them that allegedly might have had a black eye or if it was one or the other. But yeah, yeah, thank you. That's right. That was quoted by Daniel, right? That she allegedly got the black eye from the Tonka toy truck. I don't know. I don't believe that myself. Not to say not to say it couldn't happen, but yes, there was a photo now and Jack. So yeah, it's so people are saying Jack and Lily. Yeah, that's weird. Again, not saying there's abuse. We don't know, but there is some definitely major red flags in this case.
He cuts off contact with him after this. Rain complicates the search efforts as search and rescue teams work through dense forest and boggy conditions.
Casey.
Drones, equipped with infrared technology, are used at night to look for any traces of the children.
Okay. So yeah, obviously they had a search starting on May 2nd, and then I got to look at that calendar. I think it went into like Sunday, right? I think that's when they had that press conference saying like, we're going to cut back. But during that time, they found a boot print in front of the home, like right by the driveway. And then the searchers, they found a piece of blanket somewhere between Friday and Saturday, which is going to be a huge detail. I think is a big red flag in my opinion, which we'll get to towards the middle of the show. And then there's a boot print on the pipeline trail, which I'll have a map for everything when we get to that part. Which I find very suspicious in my opinion. So, of course, there's the home. The mother, of course, left the next day. Was it the next day, right? Let me make sure. Again, it's hard when you work with right, yeah, May 3rd. So she leaves the next day after they had gone missing, just abruptly leaves with her mother. Apparently that night, May 2nd, there was kind of a fight between the family. Everybody's pointing fingers at each other, which is very suspicious in my opinion. But as they're doing some kind of meeting on May 3rd, the mother, Malaya, leaves, takes Meadow, their newborn, well, not newborn, but what was it, a year and I forget the age. Remind me the age. I'm so sorry. Of Meadow. But she takes Meadow and leaves with her mother.
And Mr. Martell attend a briefing.
And so Daniel's been there pretty much the whole time, and he's been the one doing interviews. She's only done like just one actual interview, videotaped, and then a couple of quotes since I've seen the case. But she's pretty much been silent ever since. Then we also have the people that lived there. It was, let me go back here. We have Daniel Martell, the stepfather of the two children, and then the father of Meadow with Malaya, and then Daniel's mother, Janie, who we'll watch an interview of, who lived in the trailer as well. One of the videos I did, because obviously one of the major red flags is kind of how they mentioned that they heard them outside, but yet they mentioned that they're outside, but they playing, but yet they didn't see him outside playing. The interview is quite weird. And then when you go over Daniel's different interviews, he kind of changes from first person to it was just me that was up moving around. And then there's a couple of times where he's quoted saying we were moving around. So it's kind of interesting. Allegedly Malaya's the one in bed asleep. And he's the one that wakes up and goes and looks. But sometimes he changes his wording to, instead of himself, it's them moving around looking for the children. So again, kind of interesting.
Morning with the children's mother and their 16 their boots.
And we get up instantly. We're
Martell. She's been Brooks Murray's partner for 3 years.
So we'll play the mother's interview, and then we'll get to the grandmother, and then we'll get to the Globe. So we'll just let some people come in. But here is just a little bit of how he's changed his wording. I think this has got audio to it. Yeah.
And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911.
So she says we're out there looking for him and everything. But when you listen to Daniel, he says it's just him out there searching. So very interesting.
One is just...
May 3, 2025, RCMP issue a broadcast intrusive alert, a public cell phone.
Their step-grandmother is speaking out for the first time.
Okay, so I know this is a little bit older, but I haven't played this interview yet. I'm going to play this so I can read chat. This is Janie. She did an interview. I think this was about a month and a half ago. And then we're going to get to the Globe here in just a minute and the updates. I'm just kind of going over the timeline and different stuff. Of course, we'd have Durward Grady, come around and claim that the mother had the kids on, with her, and that they were being, held at a reservation. But of course, nothing stemmed from that. And that's kind of where then, I kind of checked out, because it was really, Daniel and Durwood kind of pointing the finger at the mother, saying that she has them. But now it's very interesting, because now it's like he's claiming, yeah, I think the kids are out in the woods, and the cadaver dogs will find him. So I don't know. I don't know where he changed his tune. Maybe you guys can kind of explain the chat. But, when I checked out, it was Durwood Grady and Daniel saying that the mother, Malaya, had him hidden on a reservation, but nothing ever stemmed from that, right? Margaret says, "Thank you, Chris from Canada. We need to keep this precious kids' names out there." I agreed. And yeah, so we'll play this so I can read chat, and then we'll get into the Globe and the details about the blanket, because I think the blanket, to me, I think is the biggest piece of evidence, or one of the biggest pieces of evidence.
To share her story about what happened the day the siblings disappeared. Well, Brett Ruskin has been following this story from the start, and he joins us now live from Halifax. Brett, what are we hearing so far from their step-grandmother?
Yeah, Crystal, we're hearing from Janie McKenzie. So as you mentioned, the step-grandmother of these two missing children. So she is the mother of Daniel Martell, who is the stepfather of Lilly and Jack. We've heard from him numerous times over the course of this missing person investigation. But Janie McKenzie, again, speaking to CBC News for the first time, and for the first time giving CBC News access to the property from which the kids disappeared. So she gave a tour, essentially, for CBC Nova Scotia colleagues of ours who walked through the property. Again, she lives in an RV just steps away from the family home from where Lilly and Jack disappeared on May 2nd. She says on that morning, she heard the kids outside playing. A couple of moments later, there was silence, and a couple of moments after that, she heard Daniel, her son, outside shouting, calling their names, and the frantic search began. Again,
so that's interesting. Of course, it doesn't surprise me. Her story aligns with Daniel, where it's just him. But, when you hear Malaya, but again, it's just one interview from her. where, it sounds like she's saying we were all out there looking.
The family went out into the...
Thank you, and Jazz, again. Thank you so much for the membership. I saw somebody else I'll get to in here in just a second.
Woods looking for the kids. There was RCMP officers that took up the case, ground search and rescue crews that were combing through the woods. There were drones and helicopters added to the search that lasted for days. Now, Janie says that she still feels that the kids are alive out there somewhere, but that they are not in the woods. Here's what she has to say about that.
No, I don't think they're in the woods. We searched this place. Look at all the searchers they had out. They had helicopters out. They had drones out. They had searchers. They went over this place with a fine-tooth comb. Every day that they were searching, they were here. You know how many times? My trailer got searched 3 times.
So again, that is Janie McKenzie.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Seems a little defensive. I'd be more worried about the children, not how many times they're searching your trailer. Of course, that's their job if they're doing it right. But I agree. I don't think the kids would just wander off without being some kind of evidence found, clothing, boots, especially with those boots and a backpack. I just cannot see them not finding something of theirs if they just wandered off. Some kind of clothing found by this time. I'm very suspicious of that. Okay, let me continue.
That grandmother of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, she says again that she still feels that they're alive somewhere. She says that she was happy with the RCMP investigation at the beginning, but she feels like there is a lack or a lessened sense of urgency now in the last few days and weeks.
That's right, Mama. Yeah, I forgot to add that in. That's right, because they the day before they were seen. They went to, was it New Glasgow? And they were seen at a store or something like that. There was even some witness statements. So yeah, they were, alive on May 1st, the day before they went missing. So we do know that even though they missed school from April 29th, that Tuesday, that they at least were confirmed alive on May 1st, sometime around noon, I believe. Or in the afternoon.
She hopes that, again, someone comes forward with information about this disappearance of these 2 missing children here in Nova Scotia. Crystal.
Right, you can really hear the frustration, but also the emotion in her voice there. What are police saying about this ongoing investigation? Is there anything new? Where does it stand?
Yeah, the latest update that we have from police that they say that they have done 60 different interviews with family members and members of the community who may know information. They've done those interviews. They have 5,000 different video files in their possession from doorbell cameras, from trail cameras, surveillance cameras in...
Did you say 5,000? For that kind of... that's a very rural area.
Video files in their possession.
Wait, hold on one more time.
Family members and members of the community who may know information. They've done those interviews. They have 5,000 different video files in their possession from doorbell cameras, from trail cameras, surveillance cameras in the area. They are doing a forensic analysis on a piece of blanket that was found that belonged to Lilly and Jack, to the family. And they are following up on 600 tips from the general public. They say that they are still open to all possible explanations as to what happened to Lilly and Jack, and they're still open to people coming forward with more information and tips. Now, obviously, there is still that provincial reward program that is still in place.
So here in a minute, we're going to play Daniel's interview, which is kind of one of the latest interviews, and then that kind of gets into the blanket part, and then is the Globe and Mail, which is the podcast they just put out. And like I said, I think it's got some new exclusive interviews, and they kind of give their, kind of what they, when they were there, kind of their thoughts and what they had observed. It's very interesting. So we'll definitely cover all that. Jen, thank you so much for the gifted Mob Crew membership. You guys are so sweet. God bless. And thank you, Mona, for that lovely comment. Yeah, we don't like the drama. Once in a while, we have to go after a certain somebody, but yeah, we don't. Yeah, we like to focus on the children and well, just missing in general. And we like to have a wonderful chat because we got such a great community. So.
Bring up to $150,000 for tips leading to key information about this disappearance. So again, there's still a strong push to try to figure out what happened to these two missing children now having disappeared 11 weeks ago. Crystal.
Brett Ruskin in Halifax for us this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I think now we got Daniel.
2 years.
Okay,
Daniel
so
Martel
this
has
is this is newer, at least for me. This one says 29 days ago. I find this interview very interesting because this talks about the blanket, and I think, again, this is probably one of the biggest clues to me that are red flags.
Since the day Jack and Lily disappeared, that he was a suspect. He's been their stepfather for more than 2 years, living together in this trailer. Martel says that's why he has fully cooperated with police.
Yeah, everything from my phone, doing a polygraph exam, and just ask them to do, here you go, search everything. Just do everything you can for the kids, right?
Freshly unsealed court documents detail how RCMP combed through bank records, phone data, and GPS locations. Investigators wanted to know the exact whereabouts of Martel and the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, in the days leading up to the children's disappearance, and cross-reference that information with the statements they gave to police. The documents reveal that as of July 16th, investigators did not believe the case was criminal. By that point, 6 polygraph tests had been done, including on both Brooks Murray and Martel. They were also done on Martel's mother, on Brooks Murray's mother and her partner, and on the children's biological father. Brooks Murray was given a polygraph in what police describe as an effort to eliminate.
So I'll just read it. It says, Malaya underwent a polygraph examination at Bible Hill, conducted by Sergeant Daw. I don't know if I pronounced that right. The following is a summary of the polygraph. Sergeant stated Malaya willingly agreed to undergo a polygraph examination in relation to this investigation in an effort to eliminate her as a suspect in causing her children's disappearance and possible murder. She was found to have been truthful when answering the following questions, which this is redacted here. Interesting. Let me know what you think in the chat. Again, I know, a former detective we used to have on this channel. He wasn't big on polygraphs. I do think they work, but there's always possibilities. And I do wonder if maybe they could have told them that they passed, but they didn't. Again, I don't know, but it is interesting.
Her as a suspect,
and the fact that they did actually go and take him,
in causing her children's disappearance and possible murder. She passed, and so did Martel.
They've done a full background check, as much as they could possibly do, and I mean, I'm pretty thankful for them to spend the time and spend the resources to try to figure out everything.
An extensive search on Martel's property and the surrounding 8.5 square kilometers has turned up only a few clues. One was a boot print matching Lily's size 11 feet. Another was a pink blanket hanging from a tree found by family.
This is like how did it get hanging up in the tree? And I have footage. I don't know if it's the exact area where the blanket was found. It's close. But again, I would love to know how big this piece of blanket was. I don't know if, has Daniel ever said like how big that piece of blanket was, like on somebody's chat? Because I know, he does go on the, on different YouTube channels, usually in the chat. Be curious to know how big a piece of blanket that is. The other piece the bigger piece was in that trash bin that they just showed in the interview. Actually, I think it plays it here.
Family members of the children's mother. A piece of blanket was also seized from a garbage bin at the end of the family's driveway. Martel says it was the same blanket, but it had been ripped apart and thrown out.
I mean, it's mysterious as it is because the distance from the garbage bin.
So the fact that they don't even know what happened to this blanket, to me, is a huge red flag. Let me know what you think in the chat. But again, they did pass their polygraph. So again, I'm not saying, it's 100% they're guilty. But this blanket, to me, is huge. And again, how does a piece of it get up into a tree? And again, that must mean it had to have been placed up there fairly recently. It'd be interesting to know, was it on kind of like a branch that was more limber where, it could easily, if the wind blew, it'd just blow it off. Obviously animals would scavenge those kind of things, birds probably start pecking at that thing and, use it for a nest. So again, it sounds like this is something recent. And again, how does it get up in a tree branch? And then when we look into it further, it's not far from where a boot print was found. And then, of course, out of all the people that found this piece of blanket was the family members. So super strange.
Into where the blanket was found is almost 1 kilometer.
RCMP have previously said Lily's blanket was sent for forensic analysis. To date, police have received 740 tips and more than 9,300 videos, and say a tremendous amount of careful, deliberate, investigative work is ongoing to locate Lily and Jack. Angela McIver, CBC News, Halifax.
Is it Shirley? I want to say Shirley without the I. Yes, I'm sure they have, and it is one of my. I wonder if the DNA, maybe they found something on that blanket, maybe blood or something, and that's why they're bringing out the cadaver dogs. That would be one of my theories on why they now all of a sudden are coming out to, bring these cadaver dogs. I mean, clearly they could have gotten them. It's been since May, and now we're in September. So we're wait a second. So just a little over 4 months. So I think something on an item, like a blanket, maybe DNA came back with, maybe blood or something. And that's where they're like, okay, we're now going to bring out the cadaver dogs because we've got a lead. Marissa says, I thought they had a picture of it. It was hanging about 3 feet off the ground. Oh, if anybody knows in chat, if there is one out there, that would be interesting. Hey, Debbie. Oh, good to see you. Thank you. Australian got timed out unintentionally. Okay. Because birds are... Yeah, that's why I wonder, this piece of blanket would be interesting to see the picture, because, if it's, just hanging a few feet off the ground, or if it's just on, a limber branch, obviously it seems like that would have had been placed up there very recently, because many different elements could have, if it was up there longer. It'd be interesting to know also, did Daniel ever mention when this blanket was thrown out? Because I understand this blanket that was Lily's, it was used for, I think, wasn't it used to kind of keep out the cold or something like that? It was used for the house or for their trailer or whatever, to keep out the cold or something, cold air. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was something like that. And then now that obviously it was getting warmer, they took it down, and the story is that they threw it in the trash bin. But then somehow it got a piece of it torn off. To me, that's a huge red flag. Why? Yes, is a curtain. Okay, thank you. Again, I apologize. Like I said, I took a break from this case because I felt like it just really wasn't. It was really just people pointing the finger. You had Durwood and just no real actual substance. So, but now we're going to get into Globe and Mail. If you haven't heard this, hopefully this will be interesting because they share some interviews and some insight.
My name is Lindsay Jones, and I'm the Atlantic reporter for the Globe and Mail.
Okay, so this is it. Now, obviously, since it's just podcast, I just put some B-roll footage of the case while we listen to it. But there is some very interesting things. And then if you're wondering where the items were found, I have that at the end. And then I have video footage of a guy that was searching not long after they went missing. And he looked like he went right towards the area that was around where the blanket was found. So we can kind of get an idea of what that looked like. So we'll definitely go over that as well.
I'm Greg Mercer, and I'm an investigative reporter for the Globe.
Oh.
Lindsay and Greg.
Okay, so I'm sorry to pause. Curtin and the lady, but the blanket was up Friday. Down Saturday. No, when you say that, no, I know you're saying allegedly, and I appreciate that, so we're not taking that as fact. Friday is in the day they went missing? Or is this the week before, right? Because wasn't it Friday they went... Yeah, it was a Friday they went missing. I don't know if you can elaborate. Was this like a Friday the week before, or is this like the Friday that they went missing? That would be interesting. Be down Saturday, but they found the piece of blanket. Yeah, I don't know if you can elaborate, Marie. That would be interesting. Okay, so here is the Globe and Mail.
I've been reporting on the disappearance of Jack and Lily's
cases of missing children that we hear about are wrapped up.
Their disappearance and the massive efforts to find them will take you through the active investigation.
She was on the ground doing a lot of great work, and I was asked to basically come and assist her at first from afar, and then later joined her in Nova Scotia. On a story like this, it's often helpful to pair up, especially when you got somebody who's doing the labor-intensive stuff like driving around and trying to find people. Yeah, we've been at it ever since.
God, I hope this music isn't copyrighted. I know it goes away in a minute here. I'm just praying it's not copyright music.
I'm Cheryl Sutherland, and this...
Cheryl Sutherland. Okay, Cheryl Sutherland. Okay, sorry, I just want to get their name.
This is The Decibel from the Globe and Mail.
The first thing I did was try to understand what was happening on the ground that day. So
again, if you haven't heard this just came out, like I said, either this morning or it was last night. It's going to have interviews. I'm sorry to repeat myself, but I know more people are coming in. If you can, please hit that like button. This is very interesting. I've listened to about 80% of it. So I haven't heard the whole thing, but again, there's some exclusive interviews and, again, insight on what they experienced when they got there. And these are the reporters from Globe and Mail.
We learned that Jack and Lily are two siblings. Lily is 6 and Jack is 4. Okay. And they were living in the home of their stepfather's mother. So it's a trailer in the community of Lansdowne, which is about 100 people in a remote area with no cell phone service in Pictou County. I also reached out to both parents. Malaya is the children's mother, and I got a reply from Daniel Martel, the children's stepfather. And Daniel and I got on the phone that afternoon, and we had quite an emotional conversation.
Can you take me through sort of what happened? Like you guys heard the kids.
Oh, Justin, Clutch and Pearls? That's okay. We love Clutch and Pearls. Good friend of the channel, so that's okay.
Playing in the morning, and how did that go?
Yeah, Lily came into the room multiple times. I mean, me and Malaya and the baby were just in the bedroom. And Lily came in multiple times, so I seen her that morning. And Jack was out playing in the kitchen, I'm guessing, and they slid open the back sliding door. It's almost like silent to hear it slide open. But they slid it open. The boots were right beside the door. They just proceeded to, I'm guessing, play outside, and then they must have just got out to the back fence and then they were gone. As soon as I seen that they were gone, I immediately jumped in the car, did all the dirt roads, did all the culverts, checked over the rivers, the streams. I did everything. I did anywhere the vehicle could take me, I did.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got back home, like 10 minutes later, I immediately went out on foot till the officers got here.
What were the conditions like in the woods when you were running?
The conditions are thick. My cousin said that she talked to some searchers, and they said they've been over on 500 different searches, and this is one of the hardest ones I've ever seen.
What makes it so difficult? Is it the thick woods, or what is it?
Very thick woods, the terrain, the elevation throughout the terrain.
Okay.
It didn't matter to me though. I was going up through water up to my waist, and the helicopters were just sitting there watching me, hovering above me.
So all 3 adults that were on the property at the time the children disappeared have the same story. Malaya has said virtually the exact same thing Daniel has said. And Daniel's mother, Janie McKenzie, also told police she heard the children playing in the yard that morning.
So police essentially began a mass.
Okay, just pause it there for a second. I got a poll going asking if you guys believe the parents are responsible for the children's disappearance. I also have it where if you think it's the stepfather or just the mother. So that's on the last 2 options. Or the second option is no, we're not sure. Curious to see where people sit after 4 months of what's going on. Heather says, very unusual. But yeah, the blanket, to me, just makes no sense. Like what, especially if that's it just came from, if it's fresh, like it was just placed there like that day or day before, like what would be a logical reason besides, foul play or something, that a piece of Lily's blanket would be hanging up in a tree? Like what would be, like the road's right there, and we'll get to the map after this globe thing. The road's very close to where allegedly this piece of blanket was found. You could say, this piece of blanket, they kind of used part of it for as a rag, and so he had to pull over his car and change the oil and use that as a rag, and then, littered and threw it up in a tree. But like, even that sounds ridiculous. Like, what would be a reason that a piece of blanket would be in a tree? Like, if anybody has, a logical reason that's not foul play or, a theory, I guess, let me know in chat. So strange. Teresa Wood, thank you so much for the $4.99. God bless. Okay, let's play some more, and I'll keep reading chat here.
Of search and rescue operation initially. Within the next following days, hundreds of people were brought to this part of Pictou County and began searching the forest. It's a densely wooded area with a lot of mine shafts. It's abandoned mines. Difficult searching. They were aided by guide dogs and helicopters and drones. A lot of people scanning out in a grid around the home. Found no trace of the kids. And then we learned that the day after the children were reported missing, that the RCMP's major crime unit was brought in to take on the case.
One thing the RCMP are emphasizing is that all options are part of their investigation right now. It is a missing persons case. It remains a missing persons case, which can pivot to a criminal investigation.
Well, the key thing is they haven't found the bodies of these children, right? It's difficult for there to be criminal charges without the bodies of the children being discovered. No one who's been involved in the investigation is pretending that the kids are alive somewhere. They don't seem to believe that theory at all. So they're trying to find the bodies. And until they do, it is difficult for this case to go to that next step.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that's, especially if it's the parents, they don't want to spook them. If they found something, go, yes, this is now a criminal investigation, yet they still need more evidence. And then, let's say they're both or one, maybe Daniel's involved, and all of a sudden he skips town. So I think, yeah, definitely, until they find the bodies, and then if that is the case, go from there with the autopsy, if I can speak. But yeah, thank you, Marissa. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I didn't even think about looking at some photos to see if we can see that pink LO, because it's supposed to be like a pink LOL blanket. I'm sure that would be very, if we have some older photos or whatever, if that's up there, I'm sure that would be kind of very prominent. Be able to notice that. Yeah, maybe if we get some time, we'll look at that. All right, continuing on, Jen from GA. Yeah, if we're mentioning the channel, if you got something to mention, Justin with Clutch and Pearls, love that channel. If you want to mention something that he mentioned, please go ahead. And Jess, thank you so much for the $20 euro. That is so sweet. God bless you. And Raymond Thomas, thank you so much for the membership. You guys are so sweet. All right, continuing on.
Members hurled an accusation that Daniel had something to do with the children's disappearance. And this stemmed from discussion about meth use in the home. Daniel told me about the fight on the first day I met him. And I also learned that his mother, Janie McKenzie, kicked Malaya's family members off the property. After that point, at a briefing, a police update that Daniel and Malaya attended together, Malaya left the briefing in tears. And when Daniel tried to speak to her alone, her mother would not let him. And that there was also an altercation there that resulted in Malaya leaving with her mother, cutting off contact with Daniel, and the two have broken up. She's changed her Facebook status to single, and she has not come back to the community.
We had been asking him questions about these allegations of drug use, and he responds essentially saying, look, he's got nothing to hide. He acknowledges he's done meth and other drugs in the past, but he doesn't struggle with them.
So he has admitted to that, because that was a rumor, and it has been kind of a rumor that this whole disappearance revolved around some maybe somebody owed somebody some money with regarding drugs, and they took the kids, or maybe sold the kids, whatever, or because they were doing drugs that the kids ran off. So it's kind of interesting to hear kind of this insight about Daniel talking about, at least admitting to it, that he's had an issue.
And the way he explained it to us was he was attending Narcotics Anonymous essentially to clear his name.
What do you make of all of the speculation that's going on? So many people were waiting.
Well, I can already tell you the drug party is absolute bullshit.
Yep.
And I even asked the RCMP, give me drug tests. I asked CPS, give me drug tests.
Yep.
They said, no, it's not a concern. We're not going to do that. I even go to Narcotics Anonymous. Okay. I do everything. Like, I go to 3 times a week just to clear the air for all that bullshit. I mean, even when it comes down to Jack and Lily, I'm the only one from both sides of the family that is actually doing anything. I'm doing media all the time. They probably refuse to do media with you guys, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they're not talking.
Yeah, they won't do anybody.
We learned through our reporting that Nova Scotia's Child Protection Office had been contacted by the kids' school out of concern about the way they were showing up at school. We don't know the specific details.
Yeah, and this is where the kind of the black eye thing kind of comes in, at least the speculation of why CPS. I mean, that would make sense if they're showing up with black eyes or injuries or something to that effect. Yeah, very interesting. Let me see. Let me just catch up in chat here. Oh, Angel. Okay, and I think I have that drone footage. So let me and if that's true, then clearly that piece of blanket got up there. Ooh, man, that's really sketchy. And the fact that certain family members found it, like, I don't know, that's not a good look. Like, how do you explain that? Like, you know, I don't know. All right, we'll come back to this. This obviously this came from Justin. I saw that he had gotten some of the information about their interviews and stuff. We'll go over that at the end here.
Of what the concern was that prompted that call, but we do know that that caused a child protection worker to go to the children's house and interview their parents, and this was in the months before their disappearance.
I was looking through the Facebook page of the children's school to understand what their school life was like. I was really just curious about the types of things they did at school and, you know, what their lives were like there. And I came across a photo of Jack with a black eye. And so that photo was dated December 13th, 2024. It was 5 months before he and Lily disappeared. I asked Daniel how Jack received the black eye in December, and he didn't respond. But in private Facebook messages that were shared with me, he acknowledged that Jack had many black eyes. He said Lily even had a black eye when Jack and Lily disappeared from an incident that happened on May 1st, the day before the children went missing. He said a Tonka truck that she pushed.
So here, both had black eyes before they went missing. Is that what I heard correctly? I mean, I know that's been kind of just talked about, but like, I'd play that one more time. Yeah, that's not good.
Private Facebook messages that were shared with me, he acknowledged that Jack had many black eyes. He said Lily even had a black eye when Jack and Lily disappeared from an incident that happened on May 1st, the day before the children went missing. He said a Tonka truck that she pushed down on swung up and hit her in the face.
We know.
What do you guys think? That's not good. I mean, I'm assuming that's probably why CPS, I'm sure people have already put that together, but yeah, that's not good. Pamela held, got it up there. Thank you so much for the super sticker. God bless you. I appreciate the support. Looking at everything, and Raymond gifted a mob crew. Thank you so much, Raymond. God bless, man. That's awesome, buddy. Baby says there is trafficking in Canada. I don't know about Nova Scotia. Yeah, it's a scary thing. But this black eye incident now is kind of being more confirmed. I don't know. That doesn't sound good.
That Scott Armstrong, Nova Scotia's minister responsible for child welfare, has looked into this case. He will not discuss the specifics of it. But he says he's cooperating with the police, and if there will be a time when we can question how the system responded, he will discuss that publicly. But he said for now he wants to focus on getting a resolution and finding these kids. But there's a lot of questions about how the system may or may not have missed warning signs around the home life of these children. And we do know Nova Scotia is one of the few provinces in Canada that does not have a child and youth advocate. And that is a specialized position that can look at how a child welfare system acts and where it fails and where it has flaws. And there's a lot of folks who are saying maybe this is time that Nova Scotia get one. And
so it sounds like somebody to oversee how CPS is doing. Is that what I'm understanding is what they're saying? Yeah, I think that would be very important.
And improve the way that it handles child welfare. And that's the shame of the story, is that there were people who were concerned about what they saw, who tried to do something about it. And while it's unclear how the system responded, we know that child protection officer went to the house and talked to the parents. You know, so the system in some ways did try to act as it should, but this is happening in an environment where the child protection system in Nova Scotia appears to be very broken. So there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered about what exactly happened after that visit to the kids' home before they disappeared.
Well, 4.5 months later after Jack and Lily disappeared, the country is baffled, and frankly, the online community is obsessed.
All right, why I play this? I have some of that drone footage. So I'm going to play this. This is about halfway. I think it was like 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. So I think we're about halfway through it here. So, or more than halfway. As I'm playing it, I'm going to see if I can pull up those photos. Look for that blanket.
Obsessed with what happened to Jack and Lily. There are so many conspiracy theories. There are a lot of theories as well based on some of the facts, some of the interviews that have been out there. And all of it has just led to this voracious demand in the face of what really is a vacuum of information from police in the case. All of a sudden, there's more vehicles coming through the area, people slowing down in front of homes, taking photos, sending up drones. You know, for the people in the community, it's become unnerving in other ways. Daniel's father, Earl Martell, for instance, has been followed and, videoed, had a verbal altercation with an online creator. This same online creator showed up at the home of Malaya's mother, pretending to buy a horse trailer.
Oh my gosh. So that's not good. I hate when, that's one thing that, you do some investigation, maybe you go there to do a drone or whatever, but and when you start getting into, I don't know, like stalking or whatever, that kind of, it looks bad on all of us in a way.
That was advertised online and surreptitiously recorded a lengthy conversation with Wade Paris, who is Malaya's mother's partner, about the case.
God, is it this one here? That do we know which way that it was in the window, right? Just curious if anybody knows if it was on this side, which would be the I think we're looking north, right? So this would be the north face if this is north. So either the north face or the south face. If anybody knows, let me know in chat where that blanket may have been in the window.
And then posted that online on TikTok, and it's totally different from the rules that we subscribe to, that we adhere to as journalists. And that became fodder for many YouTubers who have dedicated their shows, their crime shows, to solely focusing on Lilly and Jack.
So people are very cagey of the media and outsiders driving around, looking at, the so-called crime scene, or, the scene of where these children went missing, and it's created a lot of suspicion in the area.
It jeopardizes the investigation, right?
People have already made up their minds.
Yeah, I know.
What is that like?
Well, I get messages every day. People still call me child killer. You killed the children, where are the bodies? I get that every day. I can show you guys, and it's absolutely disturbing what people say.
People are sending you Facebook messages?
Yeah, constantly.
I'm sorry, Dan.
Constantly. I just ignore them.
What do you want those people to know? Those folks who are reaching out to you? Are these strangers? Are these people that know you?
No, they're all strangers from all over the world. It's
really?
Worldwide, yeah.
And just sending you a message on Facebook saying?
Yeah, because I always keep my messages open so anyone can message me. That's why it takes me so long to get back to everybody, because I have hundreds and hundreds of messages.
And it's complicated for things for us, right? Trying to do actual reporting on the ground. Some of the folks in this community, they don't see a big difference between a YouTuber in the UK or the US and someone reporting for a Canadian newspaper. And so there is a trust that we have to build up with some of these folks, because, in their view, YouTubers and people who are, trying to get clicks for their true crime podcast, who are less concerned about getting it right and are more concerned about just drawing traffic, we have to...
Yeah, I don't know if it's ratted, but they certainly point the finger at each other. Blanca was on the white side of the trailer. Yeah, so this side here. So I'm assuming third from the left is this one. So maybe this is when it was already taken down. Sorry, I'm just reading chat here. Yeah, peak roaches. I mean, yeah, when it's especially 2 kids and there's no sign, and I'll go over my limited experience in going out and searching, and just some things that I find major red flags, and we'll get to that here in just a bit. We're almost at the end here, and we'll get a little bit more into the blanket where it's found. If you guys are just wondering, from a top-down view, from topographical Google Earth. And then there's footage of a guy that showed up just, wanting to help search. And I think he was around that area where the blanket was found. So I can show you guys on the ground, kind of the approximate area anyway.
Convince the folks who are talking to us that we're doing things differently, that this is actual journalism, and getting it right is important to us.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so
one of the questions that kept coming up was, where is the children's biological father? And so in searching for him and his role in their lives, we found his mother, Belinda Gray. When we arrived, she was out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they said cleared. I think they've passed their polygraphs. I don't know if they used the word clear until there's no question. I'm not sure about that, Louise. Maybe that's mistaken for, they passed their polygraphs. I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I don't think they've used the word the parents are officially 100% cleared. At least they wouldn't do that here in the States until they found the children and, know that there's no foul play.
With her sun hat on and her gardening clothes.
Did they say
and that's what she does all day to help take her mind off her missing grandchildren. And as soon as she saw us and I introduced myself, just tears came to her eyes. She knew what we were there for. And you could tell she's just carrying the sadness of this mystery with her every moment of the day.
We haven't seen the kids in almost 2 years now.
I'm sorry.
That we
I'm looking that up right now. As
we had a pretty good relationship up until that point. That after the separation of Malaya and my son, it was not a good separation. That my son distanced himself from the children. We didn't have to agree with that. It was his decision to make. But Malaya knew that this will always be a second home for that. They were our grandkids, so she was more than welcome here whenever she wanted to come by.
What do you remember about the kids? How do we describe them to people who never met them?
They're lively little ones that Lily is full of life. She's into everything. She's into everything, and she's really girly.
So I looked up on Grok. It says no. The RCMP has not officially stated that the parents of Jack and Lily, Daniel and Malaya, have been cleared of involvement in children's disappearance. However, court documents released on August 22nd provide some insight into the investigation, which include the polygraph, which investigation lacked reasonable. Despite that, declared. Okay, despite this, RCMP has not explicitly declared the parents cleared. Just saying that they passed their polygraph. So maybe that was mistaken. Maybe some people may mistake that as being cleared, but yeah, at least here I know in the States they would not do that until the children are found. And, everything has been tested. And I think that would probably be the same there. Sorry, I'm just reading. Okay, so continuing on. Again, this is, if you're just tuning in, this is coming from the Globe and Mail. They did a podcast, I guess, yesterday, released it. has some inside exclusive interviews and kind of what they experienced when they were out there kind of interviewing Daniel and the different parents. And I think we're about towards the end here.
Early. But yeah, she used to, whenever she come to...
I think this is Belinda, right? This is the paternal father's mother.
Visit. She got so used to seeing me in my hats and wearing glasses, so I had to take an old pair of glasses and break the lens out of them so that she could wear them around the house. She liked dolls, she liked stuffed animals, and she just had this prim and proper way of almost like she was posing all the time. But she always reminded me of a little girl that lived in her own dream world. She'd play with her toys and she's chattering away to herself. Now, Jack didn't overly talk a whole lot. He was a very quiet little boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a very quiet, shy little boy, very reserved, at least up until that age, very reserved. But he quietly played with the toys, and he liked the stuffed animals. He played with them, and he loved the toy horse I had there for them.
How did you hear that they had gone missing?
We were in Halifax when we got the news. The mother of another grandchild I have, I guess she's seen it on social media. So right away she sent a message. It was quite a shocker. I don't think you can make anybody understand.
Oh, so a week prior. Interesting.
What struck me about Belinda is that she understood and described a change in Malaya that she noticed over the last few years.
I thought her gift was being a mom. That I really thought that was her God-given gift, that she seemed to just breeze through it. She was actually everything a grandmother could want for a mom.
Really?
Okay.
She was an excellent mom. An excellent mom. She didn't raise her voice. She had more patience than I had as a mom.
Wow. And so, what do you think happened?
Things started to change when she met Daniel.
Okay.
That she had told us about meeting him, and that she did believe it was going somewhere, so I was happy for her. And I told her, well, as long as he makes her happy, because kids are happy if mom's happy.
Yeah.
And we kept in communication that the kids' birthdays and Christmas, that she was staying with her grandmother at that time in Truro.
Yeah.
So we would go there to drop off the kids' birthday gifts or Christmas gifts and visit with them. Then we noticed that it started to change a bit.
And what kind of change did you notice in her?
She started to get distance. That the last visit she had them here, that was in the summer before Jack's birthday, so that probably would have been around July or August. She did make the comment that it bothered Daniel coming to visit us. That he assumed that she was coming so she could run into Cody. And I thought, well, I mean, they're only young, so we made it clear that, look, if he's got a problem, bring him too.
Do you think that the reason why you haven't seen him in the last 2 years is because of that?
I do feel it's because of him. I do. I mean, she was coming all the time up until she got with him.
And then when she drove to the home the day after the children went missing to help look for them, she was flabbergasted at the state of the home. Malaya appeared totally different to her than she had previously. She wondered what happened in those 2 years.
I was blown away when I found out where they lived.
Why? What is it about that area?
Well, we passed a few times in the last couple of years. And I actually remember seeing the mobile home. And I remember thinking that, my God, they should at least clean the yard up a bit. I'm awful critical of things. It's a shame, but I am. Well,
Typical grandmother, but yeah, it looked a little dirty. Angel of Light, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. God bless you. You are an angel. Thank you so much for the support. We're about done. This is Belinda Gray here. You see, this is her doing an interview. Not this particular interview that you see in the video. This is just B-roll footage. But this comes from the podcast. But this is about over, and then we'll get into where the blanket was at, and then the footage of where I believe the blanket was approximately found. We can kind of go over that in chat. But yeah.
it's okay. My philosophy has always been a person can be poor because I don't have money, that I am on the poor side of life. But you fix up what you got. You keep clean what you got. That's just been, so I had no idea. And I made a comment about the trailer twice when we had passed. So Saturday, me and some of my family members took a trip.
See, I thought this drone footage was from either May 2nd or May 3rd. It had to have been one of those 2 days. Because I'm pretty sure I had this footage, because we were covering it, I think May 3rd, at the latest May 4th, and I know this footage was out there by that time.
Saturday to do some searching. And then we, Monday we had the four-wheeler, and we started doing the trails. And we took the trails all up through the pipelines. Mm-hmm. And the power lines, that we checked all the trails. And the ribbons were everywhere, that the searchers were all up through the area. The ribbons that you couldn't go within 4 feet without seeing ribbons throughout the woods everywhere. That I did know they were well searched. I still had hope that maybe they were lost in the woods. Then when we come back to the trailer, and the cousin met me out in the yard, Daniel's cousin.
Okay.
She met me in the driveway, and I asked where Malaya was. Mm-hmm. And she told me Malaya wasn't there. And it hit me like a ton of bricks.
What was it about that?
If she could leave, then to me she knew her kids weren't coming back.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great point. A mother, why would she leave if there's a chance that her kids could be walking back or be found any moment? It is a big red flag. I agree with that 100%. That is very sus. I think both parents definitely have, red flags on both sides for sure. Right now, we almost have 200 votes. Most people think both parents were involved, and then it's kind of interesting. 19% no, we're not sure, and then 4% stepfather and 9% the mother. So, as far as between the father and mother, or stepfather anyway, a little more towards the mother, which is interesting. Okay. Oops. Let's continue. I think this is almost over.
Because I know I couldn't leave. Oh. I wanted to sleep in my car there. So I wanted to go home then because to me that answered my question, that she knew they weren't coming back.
The longer this goes on, Belinda, how worried are you we may not get answers?
That leaves me sick to my stomach. I don't believe my grandchildren are alive. I have resigned myself to that one. But to not get answers, it's like, no. There's answers out there. 2 kids just don't disappear.
And I'm so afraid that people will stop talking about it and they'll forget them.
Well, if you're just tuning in, there's some news. If you haven't heard, they're bringing out cadaver dogs. And I don't think
So in August,
I don't think they'd be bringing them out now unless they had a particular lead. And I think there's a quote. Oh gosh, I'm so glad. Hold on, before we play this last part, okay, I'm gonna play this now. I can remember. Let me pull up that report.
the Globe and Mail and other media outlets received 13 documents. Whenever police need to, get a warrant or like make a records request access, they have to get an authorization from a judge. And in this case, police had all of those authorizations sealed because of the open court principle, and anything filed in the courts is supposed to be accessible to the public. The Globe and Mail, along with 2 other media outlets, made an application to unseal those documents. And so we successfully did. Some of the information is redacted, but there is quite a bit there. And the records requests were to request parents' bank records, cell phone information, video surveillance from companies to corroborate information that they had already given police. And so some of the information that we found that stood out for us in these documents was that police collected the toothbrushes from the home, that they found a sock and children's boot prints in the woods, that they went to lengthy avenues to identify as being the same type of boot Lily was wearing at the time she went missing. The documents also showed that Malaya and Daniel's polygraph tests were found to have been truthful, and that at that time, police did not believe Lily and Jack's disappearance was a criminal act. Another key thing.
But again, they're not going to say that until there's definitive proof, and they probably got enough to arrest the responsible parties.
That came out in the documents is this pink blanket that has come up in other stories we've reported on.
This is to me like tells me there's, along with many other things, but I think this pink blanket is the biggest red flag and clue that leads towards foul play. Again, we'll get to like how do you explain it like in a reasonable way that's not suspicious or foul play.
And the key thing about this pink blanket is that it was found a kilometer from the trailer where Jack and Lily disappeared from, and it's perhaps the only physical clue in the case. So what's interesting is that Malaya's sister found this blanket along with 2 other family members.
Malaya's sister, is that? Can someone remind me her name? Is it Sydney or is that somebody else? Gosh, I forget. It's been a while. Malaya's sister. Let me know in chat. Is that Sydney, the one with the C, or is that somebody else?
The day the children were reported missing in the afternoon. And Daniel originally said that blanket was not Lily's. Malaya.
That's interesting. That's weird.
Malaya said the blanket was Lily's. Then Daniel suggested that the people who found the blanket planted it. So I spoke with Malaya's sister.
Yeah, that is so weird. If none of them had anything to do with it, it's so weird for them to be pointing the finger at each other.
Haley Ferdinand, who found the blanket.
Oh, was that Cheryl? Okay. Is that Teresa? Is that? I just want to make sure. Oh, people are saying Haley or Cheryl. Okay, I'll write both names down.
Blanket, and she denies having planted anything.
We most certainly did not. And that's on everything I have, the person I am. I would not do that in the midst of, to obstruct a case for missing children, regardless if they're related to me or not. I would never. So
why do you think Daniel is suggesting that you planted it? He told that to me as well.
Probably because I was the one that was hot on his ass the whole time we were there.
Okay.
And he didn't like me from the get-go when I got there, because he would not speak to any of Malaya's family when we showed up to help the search for Lily and Jack. He'd put his head down. He would ignore us. He would walk away from us. He wouldn't engage in conversation, and I kept at him. I was there for Jack and Lily, and I'm still here for Jack and Lily.
So strange. I mean, so weird.
We're not sure what all of this means, but it's very interesting information and perhaps the only physical clue that the public knows about at this point. And that blanket, police have told us, has been sent for forensic testing.
Oh, thank you, always. Thank you, everybody in chat, for correcting me. Okay.
Oh gosh, I've not just gone back and forth to the community, but I've gone to many other parts of the province where people that are related to these children live. And sometimes that's just a door-knocking mission that may or may not pan out.
And that's one of the challenges with these stories. You can't force people to talk. And we were able to find Malaya's father. So this is the grandfather of Jack and Lily. We found him through an address we obtained from a parking ticket he had in Halifax, right? And got an address outside of Sabanakati First Nation, and went and knocked on his door, and he was happy to talk.
I didn't hear about this. It happened on a Friday. I didn't hear nothing until like a...
Wait, who's this? Okay, this is the only part. I think we're about the... I know I keep saying we're about the end. I guess it's a little bit longer than I realized. This part I didn't hear, so hold on. Let me back up. Who's this guy?
People to talk. And we were able to find Malaya's father. So this is the...
Malaya's father. Okay. Okay, interesting.
The grandfather of Jack and Lily. We found him through an address we obtained from a parking ticket he had in Halifax, right? And got an address outside of Sabanakati First Nation, and went and knocked on his door, and he was happy to talk.
I didn't hear about this. It happened on a Friday. I didn't hear nothing until like a Sunday.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I was really upset.
Have you been interviewed? Like, if the police come and asked?
Nope.
Nothing. Eh?
Wow.
Never asked me anything.
What do you remember about the kids?
Kids, they were happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
Yeah?
Yes. Every time I seen them. They always lived at their grandmother's in Truro.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at their great-grandmother's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
At Patty Carter's. That's where I used to go visit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Until this guy moved him away, and that was the last time I seen him.
And so he took us to his mother's house, Connie Brooks, in Indian Brook. It's part of Spaganagity First Nation. So we went to her home and we saw family photos all over the wall, some of Lily and Jack, some of Malaya as a child.
Yeah.
When's the last time that you got to see Lily and Jack?
I seen Lily last year when she brought her up here.
Yeah.
Yes, the last time I seen Lily.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when they took them pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did Lily and Jack ever learn anything about their Mi'kmaq heritage?
No, because they lived off the reserve.
Okay.
They didn't. When they come up occasionally, you know what? And she brings them up and visit. Yeah.
She brought them up, and did you show them anything?
Yeah, we showed them everything, and then, you know.
And Connie Brooks told us some interesting information. Malaya had been there to get her status card updated, so she is a member of the First Nation. And she visited her grandmother and other relatives, and her grandmother asked her about her relationship with Daniel Martel.
I don't know, but I asked her, did he hurt you? She didn't really say he hurt her, but he held her down. He held her down and took her phone on her, and she couldn't talk. She couldn't allowed to use the phone.
Yeah, I mean, we can't remove that. The kids, you know.
So it sounds like he maybe allegedly had been jealous, especially with the Cody thing, her going to Belinda's house, and Cody, the biological father of Lilly and Jack. That would surprise me.
Indigenous heritage, and they're on their mother's side. Their grandfather is a member of the Mi'kmaq community. The kids do not have official status with that community, but certainly the Mi'kmaq community has been involved in the search and providing legal assistance to their mother. So it is a part of the story.
I do see the case as connected to missing and murdered Indigenous women and children because, well, for one, Malaya's father brought that very issue up to us and was wearing an orange shirt to raise awareness about missing children. And while there hasn't been a specific outcry about it, I think one thing to consider is that children going missing or being murdered happens more often to Indigenous kids, statistically. And so you can't disconnect that these children have gone missing for this long with no answers from their Indigenous heritage.
Yeah, I think all parties are...
We know there's still an effort to get more tips from the public. The province offered up to $150,000 as a reward for information that could help police in this case. And that's part of a provincial program designed to kind of get tips for some of the cold cases that are, some of them very historical in Nova Scotia. Police say, though, they have received hundreds of tips already, and they've interviewed dozens and dozens of people. I mean,
apparently they have over 5,000 video clips of ring cams and stuff. I'm surprised. That's a huge number.
Are getting information, but so far, the kids still remain missing, and nothing has been able to be that breakthrough piece that they really need.
I think this is about the
We
end.
are still very much on this case. The school year has started back up. The children are not in their seats on the school bus.
That's so wild. I mean, it feels like, again, they just went missing, a month ago, and now, that was towards the end of the school year, and now school started, and it's so sad.
They're not in the classrooms with their peers. There's still a lot of questions, and Greg and I plan to continue pressing for answers.
Okay, so now let's get into...
That's it for today. I'm Cheryl Sutherland. Kasia Mihailovich produced this episode. Is our managing editor.
Well, doll blanket found.
All right. So from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is where they found the blanket approximately. So the home is right here. Oops, let me move this over.
Daniel Martel, the stepfather of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, explained that the piece of the pink LOL doll blanket found in a trash bag at the end of the family's driveway on May 4th, 2025, was there because it had been discarded prior to the children's disappearance. According to court documents and statements reported by CBC News, Martel said the blanket had been used to stop a draft around a door in their trailer. Malahia Brooks Murray, the children's mother, told police that about a week before the children went missing on May 2nd, 2025, she removed the blanket from the door because the weather was getting warmer and threw it into the garbage.
Okay, so according to her statement, Malaya, it was thrown away a week prior. Again, we don't know 100%, but that's what they say. So, some between a week before they went missing up to when they went missing. This blanket ends up in a trash bin, and then the kids go missing, and then while a group of them, including the sister of Malaya, Haley, if the chat's correct, which I'm sure they are, they found a piece of this blanket hanging in a tree, which again, what would be a rational explanation for it to get there, right? If it was like thrown away even a week prior, how did it get up there, And again, it would be interesting to see a picture of it. Like, how big was this piece? And, was it on a thick branch? or is it on more of a thinner branch where, wind or elements could have easily, knocked it off? But what would be a rational explanation other than, again, I believe it was found not far from the tracks, if I'm correct, right? If anybody knows, this is kind of what most people put up here. And so this is Lansdowne Road. And then there you have the tracks that go along the side of that. And it's allegedly found somewhere in this area approximately. And I'll show that approximate area. I don't think it's the exact area, but the approximate area.
Martel further noted that a piece of the blanket was already missing when it was discarded, as he had ripped it off while using it. The RCMP confirmed that the piece found in the trash bag matched the piece of Lily's blanket found in a tree on Lansdowne Station Road, approximately 1 kilometer from the home, and both are undergoing forensic analysis.
So here's a better look at it for to give you more context here. So
these were discovered by...
So we have the home, where the home's at. Remember, most of the full blanket was found in the trash bin at this home here. But a piece of this blanket was found 1 kilometer close to Lansdowne Road. And right next to Lansdowne Road, there is these tracks, which is interesting. And then you add in the other major red flag that I think ties into this is the boot print that was found on the pipeline trail.
Search and rescue teams between the evening of May 2nd and the morning of May 3rd, 2025, on a pipeline trail in the woods behind the family's home at 1407 Gairloch Road, Lansdowne Station, Pictou County.
Oh, you know what? I copied that. Oh, because it's saying it's in Lansdowne Station, but yeah, on Lansdowne Road. Yeah, Daphne. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Nova Scotia. The prints were described as being some distance from the home, just over 1 kilometer from where the first piece of the pink blanket was found.
So what do you guys think? I always think that one of the reasons, if this was foul play, that they were trying, whoever's responsible was trying to lead them up to this pipeline trail. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that somewhere on this pipeline trail that a boot print was found, in my opinion. And then there's talk of a sock that was found, but I don't know. Let me know in chat if you guys know what's like the rumor, but I know allegedly a sock was found, but I'm not sure. Yeah, because you have Lansdowne Station Road. You're right. It is confusing because it goes down here. But yeah, Lansdowne Road, which is where I have it, is approximate. Let's see. Do I show the map or do I do the video? Okay. Before we play the video. So here is the official thing here that came out yesterday. So our CMP says cadaver dogs will be deployed to search for, the children. Which again, to me, it sounds like they have something of substance that caused them to bring these dogs out, because they had 4 months to do that. So I think they're waiting for, some kind of legit evidence or something, in my opinion, that would give them an area to search. So it talks about the search. More than 8,000 videos. Wow, that's crazy. Before they said 5,000. Deploying cadaver dogs is the next step in the investigation, he said. What's important to remember is at this time we don't have any definitive information to support the children are deceased, but we have to keep our minds open and look at all investigative avenues. Daniel Martell, Lilly and Jack's stepfather, says he's also called for RCMP to include cadaver dogs into the investigation. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I'm actually pretty happy about that because it's been about 3 months I've been asking for them, and it's just been delayed. So this is where it gets confusing because, am I wrong? Just before I quit, not quit, but, took kind of moved on to other cases because I felt like this was kind of getting stale. But at that time, in May, June, somewhere in June and July, we had Durwood and Daniel saying, no, these kids are alive and they're at, they're somewhere on the reserve with Malaya. Am I wrong? Like, this is where it gets so weird. Now he's like, he's happy because they're coming out. Now all of a sudden he believes they're near, they're out there in the woods. Am I wrong? Isn't that like completely a 180? Like, and when did this happen? Joanne says, it was originally been said that they found a sock and I believe a pink headband. Oh, interesting. Oh, thank you, lady. God bless. I hope you have a wonderful night. Yes, Daphne. That's exactly where I was going, and I'm sure many people have probably put that together as well. That would be my guess, is they found DNA on the blanket, which I think we even kind of talked about earlier, is they probably did extensive testing. Yeah, that would be my guess for sure. Yeah, are you talking? Yeah, the Durwood thing, but it was also Daniel, right? Like Daniel was in the chat saying, like, yeah, I know Malaya's got the children somewhere, unless it was a fake Daniel. I don't know, but wasn't Daniel backing up the whole claims, or at least unless it was an imposter? Let me know if I'm wrong in chat. And I could be. But anyway, as we move on, I'll let chat kind of let me know. Because there was something that they say in here I thought was kind of interesting. So they talked about the dogs that they had out there, which were more scent dogs. They didn't have actually cadaver dogs. They were trying to pick up the scent. Then he says, so this is Sergeant Pike. Speaking generally, Pike said, cadaver dogs are usually brought in when there is reason to believe decomposition has taken place and other possibilities. And then it says dash, and this is what's weird. It says, such as a person wandering off have been ruled out. Which is weird. I don't know if they meant to put that way. Cadaver dogs are usually brought in when there is reason to believe decomposition has taken place and other possibilities. Foul play, it would be other possibility, right? Such as a person wandering off have been ruled out. I don't know why they put this last part. Am I not understanding that part? This is weird. I don't know. But this part is very interesting, and I agree. Then they just talk about how long, the scent can remain detectable. All depends on the environment. As long as they're not buried 20 feet in concrete, I'm sure they got the right dogs. If they're out there, I'm sure. Now, they said that they're going to deploy them. They're not say exactly what date, because I'm sure they don't want people hindering the investigation. So that makes sense. So we could learn maybe something Monday. They could be doing it right now, and we have no idea. Daphne says dogs were dual purposes dogs, but then they're out bringing in cadaver. Okay, that makes sense. And yeah. He says, I don't know if they couldn't bring dogs earlier, or if there's specific rides that are bringing them now. I think there's a reason why they're bringing them now. Just my opinion. And again, let me know in chat. But I think there's, possibly DNA on the blanket. It'll be very interesting to know the area that they're searching. If they're searching over here, then I think we can, safely assume that blanket. So here's this guy. I'm pretty sure he's on Lansdowne Station. Or Lansdowne Road, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic, so I'm going to say that now. So you can see, and I apologize, I meant to stabilize this, so I apologize if you get a headache. Maybe it says they found DNA on the blanket. I don't know if we can say that officially, but that would be my guess. Yeah. So see, he went in an area that they definitely went in or came out. I can't tell. It definitely seems like he's on Lansdowne Road. Actually, I'm almost like 90% he's on Lansdowne Road for two reasons. One, he's going to encounter the tracks here and just as he enters. So clearly, and he makes his way where he ends up coming out. He almost goes behind the home and then comes back down south where he ends up on Garlock Road. And then he passes Daniel as he's walking all the way back. But this is kind of around the area where they found the blanket. And you can see where they went in or came out. If anybody's followed me on when we, looked for Aiden Clune, what we started doing, because we were searching so much, and we bought biodegradable tape with us, or ribbon, and we did this. We would do this. And so this would mark either where we were going in or we just came out. And you do that so many feet or whatever, everybody's got different ways they do it, but you'll notice here, you can see more tape where you can kind of see where they're marking. Probably a checkpoint where they go so far. Because you want to, in theory, you want to be able to, especially in a heavily wooded area, so you don't get you'll have a heading, right? At least this is how we did it. We'd have a heading, due north or due west or, or in between or whatever. Mark your opening, and then you go so far, and then you mark another spot just like you did in the opening. That way you can always see a visual. If you come back, you can see the visuals of your where you've searched, and that way you can move right or left of where you just went in or came out. But as you notice here in just a minute, there's tracks. This guy is very sweet. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This came out really early on. He has his little baby cat in the car. Oh my god, it's so cute. So there's the tracks. So if we just look on Google Maps, just for anybody that's wondering. Again, I don't know if he's exactly where that the blanket, but you can see that he's on Lansdowne Road, and notice this is the tracks right here. Now that 1,000 kilometer is about right here. I'm not sure exactly, he's somewhere. He's close. I mean, I'm sure he saw those ribbons, and that's why he's kind of like positioned himself a little bit next to him. And then you notice there's a tree here that's marked. And I do wonder if this could be the tree. Again, this just could be where they, again, like I said, whenever you have an opening, then you're going to mark it. That way, you know where you're going in. You're just always trying to kind of keep your bearings and visuals for other searchers that may come in the next day and try to parallel where you've searched. But yeah, sorry, I wish this guy unfortunately doesn't have like a gimbal or anything. But you see, there's this one here, and then there's a tree over to the right that you see that's tagged. I wish I would have slowed this down. Sorry, guys. Dang it. But I do wonder if because if these branches are very, like, any of these branches, if you look at them, they're very limber, right? These are branches that if you walk through, I guess if they're more like, if it isn't dead wood, it'll just kind of, it's not going to break off. But, if some of these trees are more dead, because apparently a storm went through and, wiped out a bunch, these branches are not going to be very sturdy. So yeah, any except for this pine here, but yeah, all these branches, any of them, none of these are like thick branches. All right, so I'm gonna pause it where. I mean, if you look at a lot of this stuff, it's just really thin stuff that. I don't know. To me, it's weird. Yeah, hurricane went through. Right. Exactly. And then just from my experience, as you can see what he's going through, imagine kids going through this, someone with a backpack and boots. I mean, they could there's always possibilities they could get deep into the woods, but without leaving some kind of backpack or coat or a boot, I mean, you're always, just looking, as you watch him, especially he starts, and a lot of this, again, is the same throughout, the search area, where there's just a little bit of open areas, but a lot of it, gets really thick. And I mean, you got stuff tugging on your boots. You got stuff tugging, especially if you have a backpack. I don't know how many times I've almost had my backpack yanked off of me because a branch gets lodged in somewhere on my strap or something. Usually I have my backpack buckled in, right? Yeah, it's just such tough terrain to think that two children would get really far without just leaving some kind of very noticeable evidence and or clothing or items. Not to say it's not impossible, but and for them not to get injured, twist an ankle or something, because this stuff, it looks like, especially a lot of this stuff that's laying down, I'm 6'3", so I've got these big strides, but these kids, this tiny little kids that have to try to trek through this stuff that's knocked down. Yeah, you can tell he's getting caught up on stuff. But yeah, pretty wild. It's possible, Susan. I mean, again, you always have to keep an open mind. I agree. They could have possibly followed the train tracks, but again, the main thing is who put the blanket there, right? Like that's the weirdest thing. I mean, there's always a possibility, like, did Lily snag up the blanket a little bit and then leave it up on the a branch for them to find? I mean, that's yeah, I don't know. Again, what would be a logical explanation for that blanket laying on a branch like that. I just can't think of one. It says, in my opinion, they were deceased before being placed in woods. I think that's definitely a possibility. I hate to think that, but I mean, the law averages when it comes to a disappearance with children that even though they don't say it's criminal, it's definitely suspicious, and usually, the parents, I forget the statistics, it's pretty high. But we almost have 300 votes. Right now, 70% think both parents are involved. And then when it comes to the mother or father, it's kind of split a little bit more the mother. But I'll end that there. Yeah, I'd be curious. Does anybody know? Did Haley say any details about how that piece of? Let's listen to this one last time, and then we'll finish up, guys. I just love
anybody.
We learned, but we do know
Jack had many black eyes.
that Scott Armstrong, Nova Scotia.
Is the piece of blanket? Is it in this court documents that were released? Because I couldn't find them, but I know they're out there. I know Justin has. I don't know if he has them all, but here's some screenshots of them. Be curious if that's in this. I just want to hear Haley mention this one more time.
Sure. And that's the shame of the stories that.
For the people, it's
crime scene, or I
always keep my mess.
Thing. She's into everything, and she had more patience. We kept in communication when I found her. So I threw the area, the ribbons that.
What was it about that? Worried are you we may not get answers?
thing filed in the courts is supposed to be bank records home that they found, and that at that time police did not only physical clue in the case. So what's interesting is that Malaya's sister found this blanket along with two other family members the day the children were reported missing in the afternoon. And Daniel originally said that blanket was not Lily's. Malaya said the blanket was Lily's. Then Daniel suggested that the people who found the blanket planted it.
Yeah, that's
so
weird.
I spoke with Malaya's sister, Haley Ferdinand, who found the blanket.
So that tells me at least neither of them have a rational explanation of how that blanket got there. Unless someone rummaged through their trash, ripped it up, and then it's just a coincidence that that's placed up on a branch, it stays up there, and then the kids go missing. It's too much of a coincidence. And the fact that neither one, Daniel's pointing the finger at them, I don't think it's good. I really don't. And I hopefully this cadaver search with the dogs is something that came from, say DNA from the blanket or something similar. So we may get some, I don't know. We could get some big details within the week, if that is the case. So before we finish, if you missed it earlier, if you're, let's see. Let me pull this up real quick, guys. So if you're familiar with this case, I've heard about this case. We have covered it on this channel, but it's been a while. This is Daniel Robinson. He went missing 4 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. It's crazy. In June, very suspicious. Here's his vehicle here. He went missing in June, late June, June 23rd of 2021, and then he wasn't found until mid-July or somewhere in there. Or no, he wasn't found. I'm sorry, excuse me. He was not found. Sorry, his vehicle was found I believe. And of course, it was busted up. It was flipped. Very suspicious about the car. They have like the car data from his Jeep. Seems like someone tried to start it a bunch of times, even though it's flipped on its side. All of his clothing was strewn out about the vehicle. But no Daniel. Nothing. In this case is a huge mystery. So long story short, I had somebody recently reach out via email that's, I believe, close with the father, David, and they've got some new working theories, and this person is going to be sharing some details with me that could be some new inside source details. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So we'll probably be covering this case. Well, actually, we will be covering this case. Of course, we'll continue to cover Sebastian and Lilly and Jack. But I just want to mention, if you're into, familiar with David Robinson, basically it sounds like they've got some new possible leads, theories, and they're trying to kind of jumpstart that and get creators kind of get back into this case with this possible newfound info or whatnot. I don't want, like I said, I want to get too ahead of myself, but it's pretty cool. If some of this information pans out, that there is some, leads that may have been missed. So we are definitely going to be covering this case as well. So if you like that kind of thing and you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We'll definitely be covering that this week. Maybe early as Monday, depending on the information. I'll have to kind of go through it and stuff. But yeah. Quickly, I just want to say, NJazz, thank you, Marissa, Bo, Jen, NJazz again, of course. Teresa, thank you so much for $4.99. NJazz again, God bless. Raymond, thank you so much. Pamela, God bless. Raymond, thank you again for the membership. Baby kisses. I didn't see the email. I don't know if that went through, but I'm sure we'll cover Jack and Lilly again, of course. And Angel of Light, thank you so much for the support as well. But I just want to say thank you to my wonderful mods being in here on a Saturday, helping me out. Sensei D, I think I saw Jennifer in here, and Jazz. I appreciate you guys. And thank you to everybody being respectful and helping me out. Again, I don't know everything, and it certainly helps for people to fill in the gaps since I haven't covered this case for a while. But hopefully, if the children are out there and are deceased, hopefully, they get answers. And then that'll lead to where the next steps. So we will keep an eye on that. But again, thank you to everybody. And of course, a huge shout out to my patrons and members. And with that, I will finish, and then I'll probably try to do a live tomorrow. I've got a meeting I've got to do regarding the Daniel Robinson thing. And yeah, we'll go from there. With that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. And